We're starting with Claude Monet. Now, Impressionism was first used as a pejorative term by a critic upon viewing Monet's Impressionism Sunrise, which you see right here. He gave the idea that this is nothing more than the impression of a painting, thus the term Impressionism. And this pejorative term will really capture what Impressionism is. After all, they're capturing this single fleeting moment. And in capturing such a spontaneous moment, you need to work very, very quickly, capturing only the impression of the thing without the detail. Now, Monet is known for a number of things. He's known, for example, for having cataracts later in his life. Those will be fixed later in life. Of course, they have surgical procedures to fix cataracts at the end of the 19th century. And he actually reacts negatively to many of the paintings that we now look at and go, wow, he did such incredible things with those cataracts. He actually destroys a lot of them. So that's always a fun element. Many of these artists don't like what they're creating when we see something that is spectacular. But his style is thought of as impressionist through his use of color, speed, and a sketch-like abbreviation. You can imagine him very quickly trying to capture this because after all, the sun is going to come up over those hay bales in 10 or 15 minutes from this point of light? And as soon as it does, he has to work from memory, which means he has to work rapidly because, of course, memory will change over time. He makes no attempt to blend brushstrokes or create smooth tonal gradients, the sort of thing we've seen from the Renaissance, the Baroque, the Neoclassical, all these other movements. He's also not trying to necessarily create a perfectly accurate depiction. Instead, he's working outdoors, capturing that moment, and to work outdoors requires a change in technology. Up until this point, if you wanted to carry paint with you, you had to keep it in a pig's bladder with sort of a cork in it. Well, this is a mess. You can imagine you open it up, it doesn't have any structure, it gets everywhere, and the pig is really irritated. So, at about this time, the second half of the 19th century, they invent lead and tin tubes to keep paint in, which means I can now take them outside. I can paint plein air or out of doors. And this allows artists such as Monet to go out and do that, to capture these moments outdoors and on site. And he will do a lot of depictions of singular objects, in this case, hay bales. And these haystacks, he's capturing at just different times of the year, different times of the day, and he'll create these series, sometimes with as many as 30 or 40 different versions. Really, what you're seeing is the scientific study of light and color is done by an artist. Now, this is not the first time that I'm going to compare art to science or art to an experiment. In fact, it will become an increasingly common element as we move forward into the 20th century. The Impressionists just happened to be the first really jumping on that bandwagon.